Hey guys, what's up? Caleb Downing here, and today we're going to talk about this guy real quick, the Q Porq Chop 8.6 suppressor thingy. Let's get into it. I did buy this one. Technically, I didn't buy this one. I got this with the freebie that they were doing, the giveaway deal that they were doing, where if you bought, so that doesn't fall off, if you bought the Q Fix back in the day, then you would get a free suppressor. So Q Fix in different calibers and stuff. This gave me basically the justification and reasoning to jump into the 8.6 market because I kind of wanted to get one just to kind of try it out. Moose season was right around the corner. Spoiler alert, we didn't even see a moose. We tried to go hunting, but you know, it was fun, but we didn't get to shoot anything. But we did get the 8.6, which we'll talk about that probably a little, later video. Probably not right now, that's not the whole thing. But the suppressor itself, this is what we're gonna be talking about. I opted for the larger suppressor. This is the Q Porq Chop, not the short chop. The short chop, I believe, my understanding, is basically the exact same thing, just shorter, basically. So let's just go over a couple specs real quick. There's not a whole lot of specs on this, which I kind of appreciate. I kind of actually do appreciate that. We'll talk about what comes in the box, which is not a whole lot. And we'll go shoot this thing, see how it sounds on some different hosts, and give our thoughts about it, all right? So let's do some specs. All right, like I said, there's not a whole lot here. I'm just going to read these off to you real quick for those that really want to know. This is taken straight off of Q's website. So if you want to go look it up, it's liveqordie.com. So here we go. Caliber, 8.6 millimeter. Diameter, 1.75 inches. Silencer weight is 12 ounces. Muzzle brake weight, 3.2 ounces. Overall length, Q is special. They do like to do things like this, I think, just for the sake of doing things like this. But their length is 8.6 inches. It uses the Quickie XL Fast Attach. It's made out of stainless steel, and it is black nitride finished. All right, put this guy down. Basically, I think it's funny. Q just loves, I think they really just love to pick at people. Like, why would you pick 8.6? Is that the optimized length of the suppressor? Probably not. It's just the fact that this is an 8.6 suppressor, so they wanted it to be 8.6. Same reason some people would make their rockets pointy, I think, is really all they're getting at. But I will tell you, it sounds really good, especially in 8.6. Caliber rating, it didn't necessarily say on the spec sheet as far as I could tell, but anything 8.6 and below, this guy can shoot. It's not 9mm. 8.6 is not 9, so don't be shooting 9mm stuff through here. But we shot it on our 308. We shot it on our AK, so 7.62x39. We shot it on the 5.56, 300 blackout, and obviously our 8.6. And we did shoot 6.5 Creedmoor out of it. So interesting. Something to note real quick on all of this. This does not use, and I kind of tried to highlight it, this does not use their standard cherry bomb. Okay, it uses a mount that looks like the cherry bomb, but it's an XL version. This guy right here is an XL version of the cherry bomb. So if you have existing Q cherry bomb attachments, muzzle devices, all that kind of stuff, it's not going to work. You need the larger versions. Okay, you do need the larger versions, which they do have a couple of them. We'll hit that real quick, and then we'll talk about what comes in the box. The one that I just showed you that was on the Fix, that is the regular cherry bomb looking guy, this guy right here. You can find them in different thread pitches. This one is 5/8 by 24, right? 5/8 by 24, because the one that is for the 8.6 is some weird funky duty thread pattern. I don't know why they do it that way, but they do. And then this guy is 5/8 by 24. We got this one so we can run on our 300 blackouts and our 30 cal stuff. We also got this little chime device. This is a flash hider, which I guess it works as a flash hider, but it also works as a wind chime if you need it, but in 1/2 by 28. So they do make the large mount, right, the XL mount for 1/2 by 28. So we were able to use this guy and shoot it on our 5.56 and stuff like that. And I think I had to use this guy on my 30-06, I do believe, because I threaded my 30-06 1/2 by 28. Why? I don't know, because I did it by hand, so I did it. But that's your different muzzle devices. They don't come with the suppressor. That's my understanding of it. According to the website, they do not ship with their mounts anymore, which why, again, I don't know. Q does what they do. I'm sure they have a reasoning for it. But what comes in the box? You get your little sock, right? You get your suppressor itself. That's going to fall off the table. You get your little suppressor itself. You get your box, and I think all you get really in here is cute little sticker. you know, because you want you to have stickers, some instruction material, which is actually pretty important instruction material, and that was it. You don't need tools because really this doesn't have any kind of a, it's all a sealed up can. There's no mount back here you can take off. This is fully sealed up. There's no real reason for them to supply you with tools. You really don't need it. I think it probably mentions it on here. You have a certain, what size wrench do you need? A 9/16. If you get a 9/16 socket, then you'll be able to attach your muzzle device, and they're not going to provide you with a 9/16 socket. They're just going to assume that, you know, you have guns, so you probably have some tools, so you probably have some tools. So they don't really provide any tools, which I'm not really knocking them for. I think for an MSRP of what they're talking, like $850, something like that, for what it is and who it comes from, I'm kind of surprised they're not charging more, especially knowing from who this comes from, Q. This is my first Q suppressor, and one reason I've not gotten into Q suppressors and stuff is just because of the cost. That's really the big deal. I don't know enough about silencers and suppressors and all this stuff to really understand all the nuances of fabrication and stuff. This is a welded can, I do know that. This is not a 3D printed additive material kind of thing. This is a welded, very standardized manufactured can. All right, and I think that's why this one is less costly than some of their other suppressors that have more stuff going on with it. That's my understanding of it. You can grill me in the comments if you want, but that's my understanding of it. Enough of me talking. Let's get out there. Let's shoot this guy on some different hosts, see how it sounds, and then we'll come back here and wrap it up. Still a little gassy. Does sound quieter. A little bit. About the same amount of gas. Had a second round pop. I don't know if you picked that up or not. Interesting. Not bad. Interesting. That's not bad. Honestly, it's not bad. There's a little bit of ringing going on, but that is the flash hider in here, I do believe. Primarily this guy. That guy right there. aside from the gun not cycling properly, which is extremely frustrating since it's a $3,000 gun, it definitely sounds really nice with subs. Even supers isn't bad, but with subs it's definitely very nice. Alright, it's time to play the game. Which can is quieter? We have the Q Porq Chop, make sure I say these right, and the Yankee Hill Bad Larry, both 338. We're gonna shoot this on this little 6.5 inch, my jailbroke sugar weasel, basically. We got 3 supers, 3 subs. We're gonna shoot those. You tell me, can A or can B sounds quieter? Which one do you think was quieter? Honestly, the Pork Chop won in that instance, I think. Just overall tone for me. Be interesting to hear through the microphone what it sounds like downrange a little bit, but as the shooter, Pork Chop actually sounded a little bit better. A little bit more consistent, just a little bit better. Just a little bit, but enough to notice for me. What do you guys think? All right, so how did this sound? Honestly, on 8.6, especially subsonic, it sounded really good. The 308, the AR-10, that sounded very nice. Pretty much all the 30 cal stuff sounded good. I didn't have any major negatives like it was poppy or, you know, pork pop kind of stuff going on necessarily. It all worked well. It all worked well. And obviously 300 blackout subs and 8.6 subs sounded really, really good. If 8.6 wasn't so stinking expensive, I would get a lot of 8.6 subs and just shoot those, and probably get a semi-automatic version because it sounds really, really, really nice. And honestly, 300 blackout subsonic, I think it might just be the size of the can. It's technically overboard for 300 blackout, but for the size of the can, like, it sounded so dang nice. I will say that. I will definitely say that. Something on the tone, something that I picked up, and something I would like to ask you guys that have Q suppressors or have shot Q suppressors, do you pick up more of a hollow tone when you shoot this versus other suppressors that I've shot? Like, I have a 8.6 caliber suppressor from Yankee Hill, the Bad Larry. That is a much thicker can, as far as, like, I'm guessing. I can't take the suppressor off or suppressor apart and measure, you know, the thickness of the material. But the other suppressor weighs more. I feel like it's more robust, but it also has more of a duller industrial tone. The other suppressor does. Whereas the Q, the Pork Chop, it has that more, I don't want to say high pitch, but it's more of a hollow tone. That's the best way I can describe it. It's just a more hollow tone versus a industrial thicker tone. Those are words that probably don't translate, and you guys are like, what in the world are you talking about? But if my theory is correct, I think other Q suppressors sound like this. So if you shot other Q suppressors, you might be like, I see what he's talking about. And I'd love to hear back from you and either say you're crazy or, yeah, maybe you picked that up. I'd like to hear back from you on that. As far as muzzle devices, I just wanted to hit this again. You can get different muzzle devices from different companies. Well, I think these are all made by Q, but I didn't find them on Q's website. But the Flash Hider and the Cherry Bomb, I can't remember if they had other brakes available. They might in the future, I'm not sure, but I was happy to see that they already had 1/2 28 and 5/8 24 threaded mounts. So they're out there if you need them. If you're not just solely going to dedicate the suppressor to an 8.6, like if you bought the Q Fix, right, and you bought an 8.6 and you just left it on that build, I think it'd work great for that. But on 30 cal stuff, it honestly did sound really nice. It did sound really nice. So is it worth the money? It all depends. For me, it was a justification to say a quote unquote free suppressor if you bought the Fix during when they did their little spiel. For me, it was worth it. It put me over the hump to say, let's just go ahead and get this thing. I'm glad I have it. I did spend the money on it, so this is one of those things. I didn't get anything. Well, technically it's for free because it was part of a promo, but you know what I'm saying. I did spend thousands of dollars on this whole setup, and I'm glad I did. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. Now I have a piece of that Q market thing, and it does sound very, very nice. It is not at all modular in the back. Like I said earlier, this is a fully sealed up, fully welded up can. You're not changing anything on here. So you better be ready to go buy some Q mounts if you're going to get this thing, and if you want to bounce it around between different, different platforms. Unless you want to take your muzzle device and bounce it around between the different platforms, you better be willing to go out and get some of these mounts, which they're not really overpriced. They're that standard cost. I think you can get them around $100, more or less, depending on sales or stuff like that. I can't even remember what I got these guys exactly at, but they were around that cost from what I remember. Anyway, guys, that's it. Quick and short. I hope you enjoyed this. My first Q thing, and I'm happy with it. I'm satisfied with it. It is what it is. I know there's a lot of weird stuff about Q, and some of it I can really appreciate, like the length, 8.6 inches. I think that's funny, and I can get that kind of humor. All right, y'all be good to be safe. I appreciate you guys, and hopefully we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.